JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Wednesday, May 7th, 8:56 a.m. on this fine Fed Day morning. Talk quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from there. S&P futures, unlike the last two sessions, are in the green. Who knows how long? SPY was all the way up at 563 early this morning, down here at 560.91. I don't think anything matters till Fed Chair Powell, right? So we get the statement at 2 o'clock, 95% probability there's no rate cut, and then we get the Fed Chair Powell at 2:30. So you hope you can, I always say, walk the tightrope, right? Not be too overly dovish, but maybe just a little dovish spin, kind of just a little turn from being his hawkish tone over the last couple months, and I think that'll bode well for markets. I don't think he needs, if he's overly hawkish or if there's a cut, I'm probably won't be good for markets in my opinion. So that's what we have today. Yesterday was not much in the way of catalyst. During the market hours, you had POTUS with his counterpart in Canada, the Prime Minister Carney, right? He used to be the central bank chair in Canada. But the big catalyst that came out of that one, I don't even know if it was market moving news, but he said there's going to be a very big announcement to make, like as big as it gets. It's one of the most important announcements that's been made in many years about a certain subject. So I don't know if that's about the economy or not, but it looked like the market rallied a little bit on that news and gave it back. But then after the close, uh, came out that China and Treasury Secretary Besson are going to meet in Switzerland for trade talks over the weekend. So I think that's a positive development. You have to think something positive is going to come out of it, right? I mean, just got to be a pause, a scale back, something to that effect. So I mean, market probably not too optimistic going into it, but better than having no conversation. And then, you also have Bill Ackman keeps coming out with these scenarios, right? Oh, if they put a pause and then ratchet have the rates go up 0.5% every year, the tariffs, and forces production out of China. It's just well, I mean, they listened to him last time. I mean, that's what it looked like. I mean, he said 90-day pause, and a couple of days later we had a 90-day pause. So it will be interesting if they have if that comes out anytime in the next couple of days. Also, you had Citi this morning coming out with they came out with probabilities of the trade talks, right? And it's like, oh, it's going to take time over 6 months, and it's like, yeah, all this stuff. It's not like you snap your fingers and you come up with these deals and then they get implemented, and so things are going to take time. That's the problem. That's the issue. Is that the longer this takes to get resolved, the harder it's going to be to get back, right? To get back to normal. So anyway, in regards to the SPY, we'd love to see it hold. 555 was the 50-day moving average. It's actually 554.59 right now. So just want to see that hold today. If Fed Chair Powell comes out more extremely dovish, or if there's some surprise rate cut, I'd be worried, right? And then if we break 555, I'll be looking for SQQQ calls as a hedge, similar to what I've been looking at. If he's able to walk that tightrope, address concerns like he's been doing, he actually had some good press conferences over the last couple of months, I thought. Then I think you start looking at 200-day moving average on the SPY right there at 570. But unfortunately, to the last two sessions, it's been like premium crush sessions, right? Outside of a couple names, so not the not the most fun environment. And then it was like identical sessions between Monday and Tuesday. Open lower, rallied to near green into the afternoon, and then gave the gains back into the close. Hopefully today we can find some footing. Another low volume session yesterday. Monday was the lowest volume session since January. So to me, you would think that volume would be a good thing. To me, low volume means, hey, sellers are gone, or at least not as active, and markets find some footing. All right, so that's kind of overall market. So then just individual names, and I only had the deck calls on Friday, spec call on Monday, and then I got the Fiverr calls yesterday. And some of the Fiverr, it's like when you trade in options, you need to have an edge, right? So the edge could be fundamentals, due diligence, technicals, the charts, macroeconomic situations, all those different things. And when I was looking yesterday, and of course I like the Fiverr story already because I think it's kind of like a underappreciated story in the gig economy. Not only that, it has been sold off because people think that AI is going to eat into their business and things like that. So I like it for that reason. And then you had Upwork report a monster quarter yesterday. So I thought, wow, it's a great opportunity. Stock hasn't really traded up much in sympathy, and they have earnings today. I figured it would have some continuation rally, maybe into 28s. I would have. So, and then I'd be able to lock some calls in to cover costs. So I got the calls. It rallied a little bit. The calls turned solidly green, and then it just couldn't find more buyers. So I held the calls because I try to have conviction. Of course, every earnings play is a binary event. No one knows for certain how, number one, the stock's going to react. Is it going to be a beat and raise? All those different factors. So even if a company posts a monster report like Reddit did last week, doesn't mean, you can't say without a certainty it's going to gap and go. So you take a look at Fiverr this morning. Monster, well, not monster, strong beat. They raised guidance, ratchet up a little bit on their lower end of revenue. So I think it's a great report, especially if current environment with the tariffs and uncertainty and things like that. When companies have strong quarters and beats and raises, you would think they would deserve to rally, right? They should deserve higher multiples, things like that. Uh, I'm surprised it hasn't gapped higher here at the open. I look back and Fiverr over the last 8 earnings has opened uh, the opening price and the highs. It's always ran higher after the open. So if it opened at 25, it hit 28 or whatever before either pulling back or closing green or what have you. So, I mean, that's pretty good probability of the last 8 earnings reports. All 8 times the stock has run up. So hopefully we get some follow through here today. I would love to be able to lock some of my calls in to cover costs and ride the rest for mid 30s. 2740 is the big area. It's the 200-day moving average. On the flip side, again, there's a lot of folks similar to some of the other names I'm in, like Clear Secure, and that I've traded over the years, where it can have strong beats and raises. It's like the market or the folks are betting in that eventually Fiverr is just not going to grow anymore, and it's going to become, the stock's going to be penny stock, right? Under $10 or under $5. I don't think that's going to be the case. Hopefully that doesn't happen. If it does, I'll look to pull the ripcord, depending on what the premiums look like on a break under 26. But really love the story. I think this earnings sets it up. It had a great report back in November. It ran from like 28 to 36. Had a great report to start the year for the fourth quarter. Hopefully it has a follow through here today. All right, so that's Fiverr. With the China news, China-US news, you would think some of the names, the RH, the Wayfarers, and the deck would start to run here today. Hopefully there's some follow through. Disappointing last 2 sessions for those names. Still like deck here for a move into the mid-20s and beyond, 120s. Same with RH. I don't think it's going to take much for it to get back over $200. Hopefully today's the start of day. And then Wayfair, disappointing after its big sell-off Monday, another 2.5% down day yesterday. Still like this one, 50-day moving average 31 and change. Hopefully it gets over that today. And then Reddit, again, I still surprised it hasn't done an earnings smash up. It should, I was looking Monday. Thankfully, I didn't pull the trigger. I was looking yesterday, and then it just couldn't get going. And here it is today in the red, despite the futures being higher. I don't know if this is going to go and test the gap fill at 105 and change. So I'll be watching that closely. If it finds some support, don't be surprised if I add some spec calls. But today's probably not the day. So if I do add some spec positions, it's probably going to be after 2 o'clock or during the Fed. And then other names, the biotech sector destroyed yesterday. VRTX got pummeled. And then you have the backdrop of the uncertainty with the pharma tariffs that are going to hit. Who knows what that looks like? Is that going to make some of these big pharma names scale back on M&A? I don't know. But you look at Regeneron, Biogen, all the big mega cap bio names all got destroyed. IBB down 5%. And then it rolled over into GPCR, VKTX, the Altimmunes, the Turns, they all got pummeled. So thankfully, I'm riding freebies on GPCR and VKTX. I'll continue to hold those strikes. And I'm going to look for further out strikes if they find some footing here today. And then PM, I keep looking at Philip Morris, and it's just not one of those names I normally would trade, but it's just melting higher. New all-time high closed yesterday. I think it's headed up near 180 plus. So I was looking at 180s for next week. I continued, I was almost close to pulling the trigger yesterday. If the market finds footing here today, I might look to get those calls finally. And then last but not least, the irony, GME, flat as a pancake last week. And here it is down nearly 5% for the week so far. You have to think they're going to announce some news soon, but I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks. Just disappointing. The longer they go, similar to with the market, right? The longer we go without trade deals, the higher the probability that just continues to melt. That's similar with the market. So hopefully GME announces some kind of purchase and then maybe a little more clarity on the plans they have to do their Bitcoin purchases. Anyway, that's it, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.